This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting of the Manhan Rail Trail Committee to order. It's April 28th at 7 o'clock at 50 Payson Ave. Why don't we get the minutes out of the way? I sent them out with the agenda. Does anybody have any corrections? Hi there, or comments on the minutes?
Barb, I thought I saw a reference to Eversource for one of the projects, and I believe it's supposed to be National Grid. And I believe that's the one over by the bridge. I don't have the minutes in front of me, but
okay, that's National. That's confusing to me.
I know a lot of us use them interchangeably, but I think, as James King will test, they are separate companies.
I'll make that correction when I send it to, if that's okay with you. Yep. Before I send it to the clerk's office, I'll make that correction.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? All right. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as amended?
Second. Oh, you're looking for the motion? I'll
Yep,
move the
motion. Second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Since we do have a guest, why don't we go ahead, James or Jim? I don't know what you like to go by, but if you want to go
Jimmy's
ahead,
fine.
you can give us maybe an update on what the project was that was just completed, because I don't think we really know, and then tell us what you were mentioning in the email.
Yeah. So, first of all, I'd like to thank Ms. Hammerly and Ms. LeBombard for having me here tonight to give you guys a little bit more information. So I do have a PowerPoint. I don't know if you guys want me to go into that much detail, if you guys just kind of want me to give you an overview at this time, and then when we get a little closer down the road, I can have my project manager join me with any of the more technical questions. So I'm available to present however you guys would like. So if you just let me know, I can go either approach.
How long does PowerPoint take?
It's 8 slides, and 2 of them are pictures and a intro slide. So I wouldn't say more than 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, I just made you a co-host, so you should be able to present. I think. I hope.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, can you guys see that all right on your end?
Yep.
All right, so the 1819 transmission line, as many of you are well aware, it goes along the Manhan Rail Trail for a good chunk of the line. So tonight I'm gonna just provide you guys a map of the line, some more details about the line in general, the 2 projects, the one that we're just wrapping up now, and one we have planned for the future in a couple years. Then I'll go over some permitting, project schedule, and the last slide is all my contact info. So here's a map of the line going through Northampton, Easthampton. The rail trail follows along the river at the beginning, going east and then north, and then right around here is where it separates from the rail trail and goes off into the right of way. It's a 115 kilovolt transmission line, and it runs about 6.5 miles from the Florence Junction in Northampton down to the Midway substation right on the river there. It's composed of 110 structures, 104 of them wood and with 6 steel. It was originally built in 1972 and had a partial replacement in 2005. The general composition of the line is wood wood pole davit arm construction. So we'll in a couple slides we'll see a mock-up of the existing structures there. And as many of you are well aware, it was the right-of-way was originally on the railroad and now contains the bike path for a large portion of its length. And for that portion of the right-of-way, it's it's a lot more narrow than our typical right-of-way. So after it veers off the bike path, the right-of-way opens up a little bit more, and we have some more space to work with. So kind of discussing what the project that we're just wrapping up now and the project we have in the future. So the project that we're wrapping up now, it's what we call an inspection and maintenance project, where we replaced, so it began on March 3rd of this year, and where we've completed the work on the line itself. We finished up, I think, 2 weeks ago on the bike path portion. We're just doing some restoration activities now. We replaced 13 structures, did some woodpecker hole patching on 11 structures, and additional maintenance on 12 structures. So what we have planned for the future is what we call an asset condition refurbishment. In 2020, we did a inspection flight, and it takes aerial photos of every structure from every angle, and there were a lot of needs that the company found. There's deterioration of the wood structures. There's a number of structures that are crossing wetlands that are standing in water. Various poles are exhibiting bowing from the load. There's a woodpecker damage in the majority of the wood structures, and there are a number of poles that so there are a number of small poles, not any on the bike path, but just for the configurations of existing standards. They're not up to existing standards for the height of some of the structures. So yeah, as I said, this project will address all the condition issues on the 1919 circuit by rebuilding the line. We'll also address communication needs in the region with installing OPGW. For those of you, I'm sure most of you are not aware what OPGW is. So with each transmission line circuit, we have a ground wire that runs along the top that protects from lightning strikes and other things that could affect the circuit. With PGW, we have an optical, it's a fiber within that ground line that helps our system better communicate with from substation to substation, so we can better understand where any faults are on the system, so we're able to better address any maintenance issues or emergency repairs that need to be done in the area. Much of the conductor or the wire and the insulators on the 1819 line are original vintage from 1972. So outside of those few structures that were replaced, the rest of the line, the conductor, the insulators, all other apparatuses that are attached to the structures are the original 1972 vintage. So with this project, we will be replacing all of the wood structures with new steel structures. And as we'll see in a couple more slides, or actually the next slide, so I can just pop over this next one. So there's only going to be a 5 to 7 foot difference on the existing lines to the new lines. As you can see here, there's two line configurations. Section A, which is that section that runs along the bike path, and Section B. So Section A, the structures will be remaining in the relative same locations on the same alignment. Obviously, they'll be shifted partially from where the existing structures are, so we can put up the new structures. But the section that's off the bike path, there'll be a new alignment. So in these two diagrams here, you can see the existing structures in gray and the new structures in red. So with the design for this, what we're calling Section B, they did go with a new offset to make room for a potential new line in that section. That line hasn't been planned or sanctioned at all. We were just kind of planning for growth and whatnot down the road that we'll be able to add some extra line in there when it becomes a necessity for us to add that in. So, like I said, that's not along the bike path section, but just for your awareness, for projects in the area.
Jim? Jim?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Steve. Hi. Could you just go back to the previous slide on the existing one more? What are
Sorry.
That's
Here?
right. Yep. Under the current project, what are restoration activities? It says
Restoration activities. So I'm sure many of you are aware when we were in there doing those replacements on the structures, we laid down timber matting along the bike path to ensure that we weren't tearing up the bike path with our heavy machinery that were going in there. So restoration activities include pulling up all that matting. So like I said, we've been off the bike path for a week and a half, 2 weeks now. So the bike path isn't the entirety of the line where we're doing work on the northern portion of the line. So they're just starting to wrap up pulling those mats from different areas along the line. And say we went through, we had in one instance, we were going through or close to a gentleman's yard and we caused some rutting with our trucks. And so it would be now where we're starting to fix some of those things that occurred during the construction process, now that we're pulled out and done with construction.
Thank you.
Yep. So just discussing some of the permitting. Here is it's not an exhaustive list of all the permits that we'll need for the project, but this gives you a good idea of all the permits that we are pursuing or we'll be starting to pursue. So you have the MEPA, Massachusetts Environmental Protection, Army Corps of Engineers, Department of Environmental Protection, National Heritage and Endangered Species. Local permitting will be going through the local conservation commissions and also any municipal or state non-environmental permitting as well. So project schedule. So obviously, as I mentioned, the inspection and maintenance project, we're wrapping that up. We should be off-site in the the next coming week or so. We've been off the bike path for a little while. But with this upcoming project, this is the schedule that we're anticipating. So stakeholder outreach, that's what I'm here doing today. Ooh, geez. So that that started last year. It's going to continue through the end of the project. We'll be sending notifications with updates to those abutters and parties that are interested in the project. So when we do a project, we typically set a 500-foot buffer zone. So anyone within 500 feet of the line will be receiving notifications whenever they get sent out. Included in that list, we also include groups as yourself, the Manhan Rail Trail Association, different interest groups, anyone that wants to be involved and be notified of the activities we include on that. So we have a project website coming soon, local meetings, just like I'm here meeting with you guys tonight. Field assessments started in July of 23, doing different construction reviews, access road reviews, environmental reviews, land surveys. So that will be going for a number of years. So one of the major things that I wanted to come and speak with you guys tonight is about the soil borings. So that we're planning on starting those in September. So we'll see on the. So I'm just gonna mention that now, and then I'll come back to that after I'm done with the schedule. Vegetation management. So in November of 27, we'll start doing any vegetation management that we'll need for the line. With the existing line already in and the project that we just completed, it's likely that they won't need any major tree removals. It'll just be doing some mowing and trimming around the structures to be able to get into those. The permitting starts March of next year and will run through January of 27, and construction and restoration will begin in June of 28. So we have 3 years before we're really starting to break ground on this project. So I wanted to make sure I got out in front of you guys well in advance of that to let you know kind of what we have coming down the line, and I'm sure you guys will see me a number more times between now and then, with various different people to come to present different information and technical bits about the project. But so as I was saying, the soil borings for September through November. So we will be causing I will say disturbance, but compared to the disturbance that was the project that we're just wrapping up, it will be very minimal. These soil boring rigs are about the size of a pickup truck, and that's the biggest piece of equipment that will be coming down on the bike path with. We won't have any weekend closures. Any work that we will be done will be completed during the work week. And so with the project that we're just completing, I know we had a large section of the bike path matted off and closed down. We will have matting at various sections of the bike path, but it will just be at the structure location, so it'll likely be more off to the side, so they will have access to the bike path when we're not there. So like I said, there will be a disruption for a little bit, but there won't be any full-term or long-term closures that we saw these past 2 months for those structure replacements that we were completing. So that's really it. I have my contact information here. I can send Miss Hammerly or Miss LeBombard this presentation after this meeting or early tomorrow, so you guys can have my contact information. But yeah, so like I said, September to November, we're planning on doing soil borings for the line to test soil conditions, and then we won't be back for a number more years until June of 28 when we start construction. So like I said, there's a lot more planning that's still going into the project. So I wish I could provide you all every detail I could today, but that's what I have for you this evening. Is there any questions, concerns?
Yeah, I do.
I knew I threw a lot at you there.
I have one, Ron Albertson. What's going to happen in this future project? The structure's going to be replaced? All of them? Part of them?
Yeah, so all of the wood structures are going to be replaced with steel structures. So they're going to be 5 to 7 feet taller than the existing structures. So not, in the grand scheme of things, not much taller than the existing ones, but they will be switching over from wood to steel, because the line has almost every wood structure on the line has some form of woodpecker damage, and the company's been making a big push to switch from wood to steel for reliability issues. I mean, reliability concerns.
They're soaked in creosote, right?
Sorry, say it again.
Those poles they have creosote on them, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to the exact chemical that they are treated with, but I know I know the railroad ties are treated with creosote. I don't know specifically about the existing structures there. I know they are treated. I just don't know exactly the chemical makeup of what they're treated with.
Right. I'm just surprised it doesn't deter the woodpecker.
Be surprised if it's
It might,
Chris.
it
I don't
might
think it's
diminish over
Chris, so
time.
it's a different product.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you can go out and if you really take a good look at all the structures on the line, you'll see the woodpecker damage, and if you don't see the woodpecker damage, you'll see woodpecker repairs that we've made in the past. So, like I said, these structures went into service in 1972, so there's been 50 years of woodpeckers on a lot of these structures.
And so which specific sections of the trail will this be on, or what will it be sort of close to the entirety of the trail?
It'd be close to the entirety of the trail. So there'll be we're going to have more conversations in the future when we get closer to construction. So that's really going to take some coordination with you guys, the towns. But for September and November with doing the soil borings, there will be coordination needed, and there will be some disturbances, but we won't have the long-term disruptions and closures that we had for through March and April for the replacements that we were doing there.
Wendy?
Yes, Jimmy, so are we talking about just the same sections that you just completed, or is this going to be a longer area?
It will be a longer area, so we're planning on every I mean, I wouldn't say so. Outside of the substation area, we'll be replacing every structure from the midway end where there's a parking lot over by East Street through where the line crosses over Route 10 and veers west into the right of way, where I believe Northampton's looking to do a line expansion, and then for further north to the end in Florence. So it's not just the bike path section, but the entirety of the 6.5 mile line that will be replacing the wood structures with steel.
Okay.
And
Thank
you've been in contact with Greg Nuttleman, right? I mean, because we're just a committee. I'm pretty sure you have.
Yeah, no, I've talked to Greg a number of times. I actually have to follow up with him about an issue for restoration. We had when we had pulled up one of the bollards at, I think, the cross street of, I don't know, might not be saying it correctly, but is it Goshen Ave? Gosselin Ave?
Goslin Drive.
Goslin Drive. Yeah, when we pulled the bollard up there to get in there, I don't have the exact details, but the crew said it was damaged when they had pulled it up, whether something had rusted through. So I have to confirm with Greg and the crew working out there that was replaced correctly. So yes, I have been in contact with Greg.
Okay. All right. Great. I think the main thing is that we just keep in touch, and then, as things go along, so we can put it out there to the public as to what's going on. But,
Yeah. And like I said, I'd like to come back in the future, have maybe a couple members of my team, whether it's some of the engineers, the project manager, and project schedulers, to make sure that, you guys have all the details of when we're going to be in there and kind of what to expect from us.
Great. Any other questions? Okay. Thanks so much for coming.
Great. Thank you much for everyone. I appreciate your time, and look forward to seeing you in the future.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Have a good night.
Good night. Okay.
Well,
It's gotta be
Assuming
done.
we can pull those signs down. I think the signs are still up for
They're
the
still up?
closure.
Okay, because they said they were gonna take them down this week. He emailed me last week, and he said that they were gonna go out and take the signs down. So I think if there's some that near your house or whatever,
If I see them, I will
yep,
take
take them down. Okay. All right. So let's see. I don't have any details on the update on the Trails Grant project. I just know what's on the website. I don't know if everybody's kind of taken a look at what they put on the website.
I've seen the red lines around all the routes.
Yep. It says, there's 109 locations along the trail scheduled for repairs, including crack sealing, new pavement, and trench repair where tree roots are growing in. So that's good. And they've gone out and they've done a lot of marking. If you've been on the trail, you can see it. This is the city. We will be posting updates regarding the temporary closing of the trail during construction. I talked to Mandy from the engineering department last week, and they're meeting weekly with the company. So I don't know anything more about it, but I told her to make sure to let us know, when they get their schedule and things are going to go on.
So they haven't let us know when they're gonna start or when
Well, they
they're
got
gonna
to start
finish?
soon because it's got to be done by June. So, I mean, I think it's going to be like any time now. I think
They're gonna
the first thing
spread
they
it.
did was mark it,
Really hard
but this
pressed.
money they only have it until, I think like the middle of June.
Yeah.
So,
It's fiscal year. Yeah.
yeah, so it's
State fiscal year.
going to happen soon, but we just don't know. I don't have a schedule yet. So,
Did they discuss like detouring at all, or is it just gonna be up to us to people to turn around and find one, or?
I don't know. I mean, I would think if it's a section that needs a detour, the company should have some kind of, signage, but I haven't heard anything.
I thought I'm trying to remember the plan document. I thought had like traffic detours I don't remember. But I would think it would be in the plan that the
Yeah.
company signed on to.
I would think in a lot of places there would be ways to go around, but some areas might be more difficult than others.
Well, what they've done this kind of work before. I don't know.
They have.
Yeah.
Yep.
They've heard.
Yep.
So,
Yep. I mean, I would think that would be part of it. That's got to be part of it because, I mean, it's going to be very disruptive, but it's going to be like all jumping around and maybe be at different places on the same day. So
Like with the crack ceiling, they just might be moving
they
down the
They
trail.
could
So
be.
the detour's there 1 hour, 3 hours later, it's further.
when I was out, I saw some really big cracks, like, that are big, that weren't marked, but I was talking to Mandy and she said it could be that in a situation like that, it's like they're not marking every single one because they're going to take out a big chunk of pavement. So it could be that it's just in the middle of a section that's going to be removed because there's some of them kind of look like where we might have done a fix at one point, and like there were two areas of pavement that connected, and then some of them are really, really big. And if some of them are like, how come those aren't marked? But it could be that.
Is that over near the mills?
There's some places there where they did some work. I don't know if they put in like sewer line or stormwater line and
Yeah.
underneath, and so they dug it up and then replaced it with asphalt, but it
Yeah.
wasn't,
Yeah, I noticed it. It's somewhere along between South Street and like, I don't know, I saw a couple
Yeah, I
spots.
think there's multiple.
There's multiple spots. So, but that's all I know about that. I did reach out and I didn't get a more detailed, but whatever I hear in the in-between time, I'll send out to the committee. Okay. So trail maintenance, I haven't heard anything from our new senior tax worker person. I don't know if he's out there working yet or not, but I think the big thing that we have is the mulching day this Saturday. Hopefully if as many people as possible can come. Can you help?
I need to check my schedule, but I think I am around.
Okay, how about you?
Unfortunately, I have others.
All right. Yeah, we gotta make sure we need at least 10 people. I mean, it would be
I can
good.
probably bring another person or two
Okay, that'd
if
be
I
great.
can come.
I mean, and it's quick because with the Bobcat, I don't know if you were there. No, you probably didn't help last
No.
last year.
No.
It's really fast. If you can, we need a bunch of wheelbarrows and breakers.
The
And,
Bobcat makes a big difference.
but with the Bobcat helping, it goes really fast.
I should be able to, so.
So how long does it usually take?
If we start by 9, we should be done by 10:30 or so.
Oh, really?
It's fast, but usually we also take some mulch down to Coleman Road and do down that section. So we'll have to make sure we have somebody. I was hoping John would be here tonight. We need a pickup truck and a couple people to go down there.
I'll
So,
have a pickup truck.
yeah, so I have to reach out to John about that. Yep. So that is Saturday morning, and even if the weather is not perfect, we're still gonna do it, so. Yep. Anybody, if you can't make it and you know of somebody that can help, then please share.
I might know someone with a pickup truck. I don't want to volunteer them,
Yeah.
but if you.
Yeah, I do have somebody else, but yeah, John, I mean, and we could even just put it in barrels and put some, put it in a truck. Not, it doesn't have to be like filling up the pickup truck. And it's not that big of an amount.
Do we have barrels or access to barrels?
I mean, we have
5-gallon buckets.
some
Tarps.
tarp or, like a trash can. Also gonna be doing a little bit of prep work beforehand. I'm gonna go tomorrow and a few people are gonna, because what we want to do is have it ready to go. So it's all neat and weeded and pruned, and so we just lay down the mulch. So.
Are you planning on having shovels for everybody, or is it helpful if we bring a shovel?
Bring a shovel.
Bring a shovel, okay.
Bring shovels, rakes,
Rakes especially.
rakes, brooms, a broom, yep. Anything with gloves, anything that you think you might use, and whatever it is, make sure you put your name on it. Because everything looks alike. It all looks alike. Okay. All right.
Trying to address labels are pretty handy for things.
Yeah. Alexis and Lisa, anybody there? Are you guys planning to come?
I will be there.
Excellent.
I'm allergic to mulch and dust, so I don't think I'll be of much use.
Well, you can volunteer somebody else in your household if you want. Okay. Let's see. There's nothing really new on the cultural chaos. That is all set. So Steve, did you want to talk about your federal?
Yeah, actually, after talking again to Craig, he wants to actually postpone our involvement and first only have communities that are going to be along the Mass Central Rail Trail. And then we'll have adjoining ones add their support after that.
Yeah, depending on what happens too, I guess.
So I jumped the gun. So
Okay, all right, good. 'Cause I almost forgot to put it on there and I just wanted to make sure that
Thank you.
we brought it back up.
Can I add something? There's just an issue I don't want to resolve right now. I just want people to think about it. I've noticed more and more, we allow electric assist vehicles, but more and more there are electric vehicles, whether they are bicycles, skateboards, whatever. And we have no means of enforcement, number one. So people can just do it and ignore that rule. But also I thought we're trying to encourage commuting now because of climate change and so forth. And those things would be excellent commuting vehicles. So I'm beginning to lean towards thinking about allowing any combustible engine, allowing electric vehicles on the trail.
You don't mean cars.
No. But you know what I mean, smaller, appropriate vehicles. And we don't have to talk about it. I just want people to think about it because I know, when it's thought of that issue. But I walk the trail a lot and I see them all the time. And, I'm not going to be a police to try to.
So what I've seen recently, because we bought property along the trail, and I've seen people that they're just like almost like dirt bike kind of things.
Yeah.
They're like, and it's too fast.
Yeah. I think that's the other thing. I think instead of banning electric vehicles,
And not vehicles.
or
Okay, e-bikes.
You know what I'm talking.
Yeah.
We should have a speed limit. Now, I know that's not enforceable either, but at least that's, you know, telling people, any responsible person, that we don't want you, flying through. We have to have a reasonable speed limit,
See, I first of all, that would all have to go to the city council.
Yeah.
But I don't, to me, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
But if there's absolutely no way of enforcing it, then what's the point?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't,
Or maybe,
I don't
maybe
know.
just put up some signs saying, please slow down,
Yeah.
at least that, something.
Yeah, there are
But
people
that's-
who are out there and might not know that what speed they should be going, and
Right.
maybe they will slow down. But like, yeah, we can't really enforce it,
I don't
but
know,
at
'cause
least
Did you
educate.
hear, we had one of the police officers come to a meeting
Yeah.
a while, were you at that meeting?
I don't put.
No, okay. So our guests here, you're out on the trail all the time. What are you seeing out there?
There are a couple of, there are at least two people that I see repeatedly. And they've gotten so that, one of them's gotten so that he waves at me.
Yeah.
And, I have an e-assist trike, but that, requires me to pedal it. So my speed is always under control. But he zooms by and I take it he's commuting to work or he's coming back home from work because he looks like he's got a brown, sort of a brown bag lunch with him sometimes when I've seen him. And I think he's going a hell of a lot faster than we are, about 20, 25 maybe, sometimes.
I've seen that. I think who you're talking about.
Yeah.
He does at least 25.
Yes.
I think,
Because I've got an electric bike and I can do about 20 on it almost. And his is going a whole lot faster.
Oh, yeah.
It's also, it's not one that you have to pedal, which is
Yeah.
violation of federal law.
I think when the police officer, we had an officer come to a meeting and at that time, there was one person that they knew about. And they went, and it was a young person and they knew who it was and they went to the parents. So I think if there are particular people that we're seeing on the trail that are going fast, like, they're obviously riding, they're just out there and they're not pedaling, they're just out there, that it might be good to just let the police department know, because if it is particular people, might be able to have them reach out and address those people.
But they're interested in helping with that.
Yeah.
It is a safety issue. I was reading that they're having a problem with pedestrians getting struck by bicycles
Yes.
in Boston.
Oh,
And they don't know what to do about it, as far as I can tell. I don't know if there is a solution, but
In
not
New York
expanding
State,
it.
I think the legislature has passed a law that said class 1 e-assist bikes are the maximum. That's a limit of 20. Class 1 requires pedaling to move. And the issue seems to be that these class 2 bikes and class 3 are being looked at federally as a hazard. So, and in Europe, they've already banned anything besides class 1, power assisted or electric assisted, and not motorized. Those are scooters in Europe. Here, they got around that by having some pedaling capacity, and now they're calling them bicycles. So it might be a couple of years, but the feds are getting involved because people are getting killed by somebody getting hit by somebody 25 miles an hour.
There's an issue about enforcing these laws. The feds are not going to be able to enforce some of them because I've converted 3 bikes to electric motors. And some of these, you have the choice of whether or not you pedal. It's just a setting that you
Yeah.
choose. And that's the issue, because some of these things can do, without pedaling, can do 25, 30 miles an hour.
Well, the class 1 restricts the motor size to 250 watts, and they really can't go much faster than 20.
They can't do 20 with the 250 watts.
We
Takes
can
500 watts.
we can do 18. We can do 18 if we work hard at it.
They,
But if they do, our bikes do 0 without us.
they sell them where they're basically limited though. Like it might be a 750 watt motor and then they limit it to a class 1, but it's very easy for somebody to go in and change it.
So our ordinances say throttle assisted electric bicycles may not be operated on the Manhattan Rail Trail in the absence of rider pedaling. So, I mean, I've seen this guy go by our,
Sure.
Yeah.
Mechanic Street, and he's just,
Yeah, he's just
he's
zipping
not
along.
pedaling at all.
No.
So that is already not allowed. So, I mean, I think it's probably worth reaching out to the police department now that people are out on the trail more, to say, hey, maybe it's time to have a presence, be out there a little bit. And I'm sure that those people are going to go by. And I mean, I think it's springtime and it's maybe time for them to be out there a little bit.
Yeah.
And
We-
see.
I'm sorry.
I've seen that person.
We rode all winter whenever the trail didn't have ice on it. And we saw the same 2 or 3 guys.
Yeah.
One we'd stopped and chatted with one day. Nice fella,
Yes, that's right. Yes.
but.
I mean, maybe they don't know. I mean,
and and there's no license plate numbers.
Yeah.
A guy wearing a black jacket and a black helmet and black gloves on a black bike. What do you look like? I don't know. He's
That's
wearing a
what I
helmet.
saw,
Right.
doing 25 or 30 miles an hour.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad to reach out to the police department and just say, hey, it's springtime now. We are aware that there are at least a few people that I've seen and other people have seen that are definitely not pedaling. And it's, now that there's more people out there, I think maybe it would be a good idea to have, as you can do it, as permitted by staffing, maybe it's a good time to get out there and remind people that what's allowed and what's not allowed. I think.
The Northampton Trail has a speed limit of 20 miles an hour set by the city. That's really too fast in a heavily populated area.
Yeah.
And if we do go to speed limits, I hope we cut it down to 15 in the heavily populated areas, because 20, you can really hurt somebody. You can hurt yourself.
It's 20 on the entire trail, and
I believe it is.
boy,
They may have changed it
Yeah,
recently, but
right.
that's.
They want to make 25 miles per hour on roads. So if you're thinking of 20 on a bike path, that's that's pretty fast,
It is.
I think.
I had an accident last June, and last May, and I was doing a 20 something, and I hit a pothole, and I landed on my face, and I was unconscious and had 2 brain bleeds from it, and I've had some.
You had a helmet.
I had a
Yeah.
new helmet, new style helmet on,
Scary.
and I've had some ongoing
So there's
issues.
other reasons besides, there's other reasons that's pretty fast.
It's pretty fast.
Alexis?
I actually have the sign up sheet for Cultural Chaos. We kind of just skipped over it, but that needs to be shared out with the group.
Oh.
And people need to sign up for time slots.
Okay.
Do you want me to I can just email it to the group right now while we're in the meeting for folks to fill out.
Sure, that'd be great.
Also, I work at Mass Bike, and we actually are in charge of the e-bike, the statewide e-bike vouchers. I think that the best way to communicate this is to say yield to pedestrians and cap like speed limits, just like Stephen was saying, in the city center. I don't think the police are interested or have time or the money to sit on the rail trail. I think we need to, and I don't think we actually are, there's no data to back up that pedestrians are getting struck by e-bikes. A lot of it's just word to mouth and kind of general fear and phobias. All the e-bikes that are legal in the state don't go faster than 20 miles an hour anyway. So there's kind of like, if they're going faster than 20 miles an hour, they're already breaking the state laws. So it's kind of all a moot point. It's just a matter of yield to pedestrians and maybe have a speed limit in town where it's a little denser and there's a lot of people on the road or on the path.
Even though our ordinances do not, it says that those kind of vehicles or bikes are not allowed. The ones like I saw that the guy was, it was just like it was like a dirt bike kind of, I mean, like a motor.
That's already illegal. That's not an e-bike. A dirt bike is not an e-bike.
Well, it wasn't a dirt bike, but he was not pedaling
the
at all.
size of it. It's like a thicker.
Yeah.
Looks like
It
a,
was those fat tires, right?
yeah, it's like an
Yeah.
e-bike on steroids.
You're probably talking about a moped or a class 3, neither which are considered e-bikes in Massachusetts.
Right. So it's not it's
already not allowed on
Oh.
as a state level.
right.
If that's the one I've seen, it looks like a dirt bike, but there are different styles of e-bikes.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
there is
it-
one that
it
looks
is an
like a dirt
e-bike.
bike.
Yeah, it's an e-bike, but I mean, he was not pedaling. It
Probably
was just
converted itself.
Yeah.
There's no restruction, you can set it up however you
and
want.
something like that because it's in the ordinances. I mean, I would think the police. I mean, I don't know. Chad,
there a
when they
place
were
we can-
here, they were willing to help with that. So
Is there a place we can put the ordinances though? Like, people they're not just gonna know this stuff. So I don't know how clear we can make it. We could at least put it up like
In the
on that
kiosk.
bulletin board. I don't know how many people are gonna go up and read that, but at least.
Well,
Just
the yield sign, I think that Alexis was saying, like, you're not gonna read an ordinance as you're going by, but a yield sign or a slow or something like that.
Or yield to pedestrians or let
Yeah.
pedestrians pass.
Right.
Or announce.
I've got, there's
That would be refreshing.
a
That's in
lot
our-
of people who are not announcing.
I don't know that people understand there's an etiquette.
Yeah, most people don't.
they don't.
I think it should be on the kiosks.
Well, and maybe intermittently place signage, because I think there was a time a year or two back, Northampton had some like paper, cardboard signs made up, and they were putting on different sections of the trail to remind people of some of the etiquette rules. And I think rather than just having one and it's always there and people stop seeing it, if we utilize some of those maybe, and they wouldn't be too expensive to print up, it might be worthwhile just in terms of like periodically at certain seasons, we want to remind people how to behave on the trail.
A lot of pedestrians in the middle also. So it's,
Right.
or
Yeah, there's-
dogs off leash. There's just all sorts of things that
There's a
people
lot of
should
pedestrians
know,
on the
but
trail.
maybe don't.
Well, would anybody be interested in maybe coming up with some, brief signage, right? Like a yield pedestrian or other things I'd be happy to kind of work on something like that if anyone else is interested.
I mean, I think if somebody was interested in making, and it has to be something very simple.
Yeah,
Like
right.
if you wanted to make up a couple, I think Evan probably could help us with some printing them up.
Okay. Yeah,
And we could just attach them to some of the signposts, just with zip ties or something, just temporary.
Alexis, it sounds like you had either some studies or data on like effective signage for this kind of thing. I don't know if you'd be able to share that or if you'd be interested in working on some like short, very short yield to pedestrian, slow, signage for that.
Yeah, I can look up something.
We're going to be making them. I'm a woodworker and I have
I think
scraps of wood. Or
I think it should be something that, I think just paper with like laminated with something we can just,
Right. They come
Yeah.
usually like two little metal poles. You just stick it in the
Oh,
you're
no,
thinking
I-
like a, like
I don't
a,
think we should have
it's like an
nothing
easel
trail
or something,
side.
like
Should
from
be
the-
on
I'm
the
not sure. I'm open to
signposts because we
suggestions.
don't
Yeah, okay.
allow signs now. And if they're in the mowing strip, it's going to be a problem. So I
Mm,
think
right.
it should be something that should be attached to a sign that's already there.
Okay.
Whether it's
Like on the,
like stop sign
yeah,
or,
right,
you
okay.
know, or one of those signs that they put up for that bikeway. Because we discourage signs stuck in the ground for
Right.
anything. So let's not do it.
I mean, I think it's,
And I think this is probably much more cost effective too.
yeah, my only concern is people don't really look at like when something suddenly pops up that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we could work it around the mowing schedule too,
Oh,
where, you know, if they're removable, you can, you know,
well, we're not going to make our mowers take them out.
no. We can take some responsibility for that on the
Yeah.
committee.
I'd be willing to pull out 10 signs and
Yeah. What do you think
Come
about
back the
that,
next
Wendy? I
day.
mean, we've always been really strict about having no signs on the trail. So to me, I don't want to have us start to stick signs in the trail. But what do you think?
Well, I think the rule is no signs that aren't trail related. So in this case, I think we could try it. We could do it as a trial in one section and see if it seems to help. And we can put something on Facebook about it so people understand what we're doing and why. And, you know, that's education in and of itself.
Yeah, I mean, that it would be more costly to do that than just to make up our own signs.
Can we make up our own signs and just stick them put a stake on them and stick them in the ground? I don't know. Or attach them to the railings or a signpost. I don't have a problem with where they are. But I think it could be a good reminder because obviously we have a problem.
I think painting on the path would probably be the most effective. But that's gonna be most expensive probably.
Should write in chalk.
well, I happy to work on a few ideas and maybe we can talk through them next meeting and see what people think.
Right, like what we want to specifically communicate in sort of a short, pithy.
Yeah, right.
Great. You got a job.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I had a thing tangentially related to e-bikes accidentally. I didn't know that e-bikes would be a conversation, but there's what I wrote it down, Massachusetts Clean Energy Center. And Alexis, you mentioned a e-bike voucher. I don't know if this is the same voucher. I just heard about this more in the terms of like bike advocacy, not only the rail trail. It's a $800 or a $1,200 voucher that sounds like there's like a monthly drawing for. And from my understanding, the Clean Energy Center it's like a state development organization, and it's a monthly drawing from, I think they just had the first one through September. So if you know anybody that wants maybe a pedal assisted e-bike, or for, it sounds like a good opportunity. And I think it's an income limit, but it was like 47,000 for one person household and about double that for a two-person household. So it's pretty generous income limit to be, and I think it's like a lottery drawing for people to get a voucher for partial cost.
Do you have a that website or link or something? Because we could put that on Facebook.
Yeah, right. That's
Yeah.
what I was kind of thinking. If I shared around the group, just reply to the meeting minutes, or
Yeah,
is
that's
that
fine.
okay?
Yep.
Yeah, I
The
can do that.
majority of people like could get the $400 one, and then it was actually like low income people will get the 800 or the higher
Yeah,
amount.
at least the one I saw was 800 and 1200 were the two levels, and then
Yeah.
there was like 150 for equipment.
Right. But most people are quite like it's based on your income, but most people are gonna be able to.
So
To get one.
how many names are?
I didn't see how many. Yeah, maybe they're only doing a few. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's 500 a month.
Oh, well,
500
that's
a month. Wow.
yeah. So is this
It's statewide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the same voucher program you were talking about, Alexis, or is that? Oh,
Yes.
okay. great. Well,
Oh, yeah.
What are the figures exactly? You have those, Alexis?
What are the what?
The figures, you seem like there was some debate about what the amounts were.
Oh, I'd have to look it up. Holden clearly knows more than I have. I've been going to meetings about it, but yeah.
so it says, yeah, so it says 800 for 400% of the federal poverty line and 1,200 if you have an income of 225% of the federal poverty line. So I think that's it was like 47,000 or 80 something thousand, I think, for a 2-person household at those two levels.
800 is a drop in the bucket for an e-bike.
Well, it's $800 that you're not paying, so.
Is it something that people would apply on through the website?
Yeah, there's like an
Do it
apply
like every
now.
month or
They have a drawing every month, I think.
people have
Yes,
to-
that's correct.
They have to apply each month.
I don't know about.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Oh, you just apply and then every month they just pull. Okay.
Oh, so,
Oh, that's
so
good.
maybe you'd be considered 500 times, 6 times. That's pretty good. I don't know how many people would apply,
Yeah.
but
It's hopefully the first year. This is the same group that gave Northampton $1 million for the Valley Bike expansion also like a few weeks ago. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Wow.
Valley Bike Mass CEC also gave Northampton $1 million to expand, to buy more e-bikes and more capital investment for the stations and drop mobility and stuff like that. But yes, they're awesome. They're very good. And they've been working on this program for like 5 years. They've been planning for it. Mass Bike has already did a 3-year project in Worcester as a pilot project for the statewide efforts, and like lots of documentation and how many miles saved and how many trips people made. It's all very, very meticulous.
Yeah.
I think there was a stipulation in that as well, that you had to be purchasing the bike from a Massachusetts bike shop. You couldn't buy.
Yeah, you can't buy it on Amazon or online. It has to be a local shop.
Interesting. Okay. Great.
yeah, I'll send around
Very interesting.
a link to that.
In Florence, there is an e-bike dealership. They don't sell any other kind of bikes, it's just e-bikes.
Okay. Anybody else have anything that you guys would like to bring up, or just here to listen?
Well,
And
and
offer.
maybe a little clarification. We were talking before the meeting. We noticed that as the summer went on, some of the trails were getting narrower and the weeds were flopping over, and our trikes are make an appearance of being much wider, than the shoulders of two-wheel riders, but we take up about the same amount of room, but we're lower. And as we got closer and closer to Northampton, I think the trails were getting narrower, and so I would like to volunteer, and I think Joan said she'd pitch in and help me. Just maybe go out during the summer and with a weed whip and cut back the grass that's encroaching on the sidewalk. And even when they mow, sometimes that doesn't get.
So are you talking about sections of the trail that are in Easthampton or Northampton?
Well, I'm only talking about Easthampton.
because I think Northampton tends to be worse than us.
Right, I think so too.
And I've talked to the folks in Northampton, and they have come out, but and I'm just saying, where we ride, if we see it, we'd like to go out and.
Sure. So
and I don't know whether you own equipment or whether I need to.
we do. So we our senior tax worker that we had before this gentleman, she was going out and she was trimming the fence lines of vines and all that stuff, and she was doing a lot of weed whacking, and I think it just got to be too much. So we told him that it wasn't expected that he would have to do that kind of stuff, because it's a lot of work, and there's poison ivy, and there's stuff that you really have to watch out for. But saying that, if you wanted to go ahead and I don't see a problem with that. I mean, we do have equipment here. Some of it's kind of scary.
Scary, how?
Well, we have some pretty heavy duty, like, you know, brush cutting blades and things that I don't think have been used in a while. So, I mean, I think if you have, I don't know, it depends on what you really want to do.
Maybe John would know what kind of things we have.
I mean, I know what we've just looked at. Alexis?
If you created like a scheduled event or let us know when you wanted to go out, I think I know some other people who would be interested in volunteering. I've organized a few of them, but they were mostly through the like Earth Day event, but which I don't think is happening this year. So, and everything with the bees committee is on hold until the Mass Trails work gets done. So yeah, if you end up organizing something, maybe create like a sign up or email us so we can let some other people know. I think that would be fun. I like doing those.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now things look pretty good because they did trim a lot back in the fall. So it's really kind of once things start growing, and then it's,
But it sounds like you're talking more that it's actually, do we have dirt and plants actually encroaching onto the tar?
Yes.
Right? So you propose to scrape that back or cut it back in some way?
My thought would be to cut it with a weed whip style piece of equipment and then blow it back, into the adjacent grass. We wouldn't have to pick it up that way, and it would reveal the trail as it is. One thought that I had personally is I've used large equipment with blades on them for cut. Those are for saplings. I'm talking about grasses that could be cut with a larger weed whip.
So, I mean, but we do have the whole trail gets mowed probably at least once a month. And we do have somebody that mows behind the mills and down at Route 5. I mean, and they do the mowing strip along. But I know down at Route 5 towards as summer goes on, there's that long grassy stuff that really starts to come in.
Oh, yeah.
That gets bad. But the DPW, if it gets really bad, that's when we say, all right, it's time to go out and take it, cut it back. So, but I mean, as far as we're not going to start to landscape, big, huge patches.
Revealing the blacktop.
Yeah, but we do have somebody that mows.
Yeah, but
that
it's
they
not
mow.
mowing. There's like dirt that's come onto the trail. The trail is, instead of 8 feet, it's 7 feet, 8 inches or something.
Oh, it can't be that
He's
many
talking about
places.
grass.
But then again, we
Some
also have
grass
to see what's
you
going to
won't be
happen
able
with
to
this
mow.
trail project.
That's true. There's a
If you-
trail
if you-
project that
Yeah.
would curtail some of this.
I can't think of where that would be.
Well,
As you would
right
think.
now, everything's just growing back again, so I can't even tell you, but July, August, September, October, even when the grasses died, they would fall over. And I just wanted to get out there with my weed whip.
Yeah.
Is the question, can you just go out and do it yourself whenever you want?
I think
That's what
people
I'm
do.
kinda,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think anybody's gonna stop you from that.
I don't think anybody would stop you if you
I-
saw a spot that was bad and you wanted to take care of it. I say just go and go ahead and do it.
I only have one stipulation. I don't want to use a gasoline operated unit anymore.
Yeah, that's
I wanna
all
use-
we have right now.
I want to
is
use an
gas.
electric one, and I was thinking of buying one and donating it. I would use it, and it would be equipment that you would
Yeah.
own.
We had thought about looking into getting a battery thing, but we don't have a place to plug it in here.
And that's
So
the
it would have to
issue.
be at somebody's
With these
house.
batteries and, because that's what I have.
I can
Mower.
borrow mine.
What?
An electric weed whacker. You could borrow mine. If you want to use it.
Oh, okay. Okay, I could do
And
that.
the Chico weed whacker.
How How many batteries do you have?
I think 2 or 3.
Yeah, you need
The
to have.
last file.
And will it handle heavy grass?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, we have one too. My house personally.
Deal it.
They work great, yeah.
Oh,
You get,
okay.
leaf blowers and chainsaws and everything.
Um, Home Depot has one that's a Ryobi, that the same battery for the mower will work in the trimmer, and the blower. And so actually, we have 2 batteries, one's larger than the other.
Yeah.
You trade it between the devices.
Yeah, what you want to do is you figure out what brand you want, and then you can get, it's the same batteries for most of the.
Mark, should we think about, if we have gas ones, should we think about getting rid of them and replacing them with electric?
Well, I thought Terry had asked about that last year. I mean, I'm a little hesitant to really buy too much stuff because the city's gonna be taking over. The maintenance probably next year of the bike path. So I don't think it really makes sense for us to really invest in too much more equipment. But I mean, we have there's people that you could probably borrow or give it a try and see how it worked. But
I'd be glad to. We live in a condo, so I got rid of all of my equipment.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fill up my garage.
Right.
With equipment I never can use. But yes, thank you.
So where are we with the vehicle? We're not needing to invest in that?
I haven't heard anything. I think what's gonna happen with the maintenance is they're gonna put an RFP out. And I think the city's gonna take it over and it's gonna be out of our hands, so.
So there's no need to
I
put all that
think at this
investment
point, I mean, if once they take it over, it seems like something we could still, donate or use, but because it's looking like they're gonna have employees, they're gonna buy equipment, they're gonna do the whole thing. That's how it sounded, that I think at this point, we should just hold off for now.
Are they looking to maintain like what is being done now, or do they imagine it being like having even more? They're not gonna tell you that.
Until they come out with that RFP, I don't know, but a request for proposals or something like that. Yeah.
Is it proposals for the maintenance?
Yep.
Okay, so like a
Yep.
private company employed by the city type of thing?
Or it could even be an employee. They could add an employee. That was the thought of adding an employee or more than one employee. And if they do it, the DPW had talked about, getting equipment and doing it up, making it much bigger than we do. So I mean, this year, we're still doing the same stuff that we have been, with the understanding that next year, it's really, Wendy, is she gone?
I think I saw that she.
Okay. That was the understanding, is that we were gonna do what we've been doing this year, but next year, it would transition over to the city.
Well, and
So,
I know in the cities, was it like the climate action plan, or I forget the name of it, that came out last year?
Yep.
I think there was a section on like maintenance vehicles and equipment moving towards electric for the city's use. So
Yeah.
I would think that they would be, incentivized through that,
Right.
enacting that plan
something
to
electric.
increasingly use electric equipment
You're
when
using an
possible.
external subcontractor.
I think it extended
Did
to
it?
any it was a while ago that I read it, but it was kind of like the city and its contractors will move towards using electric equipment.
And I'm saying that this was the discussion. Whether it really happens,
Right,
I don't
well,
know.
we're
We've
gonna have
seen
a new
this,
mayor next year.
yeah, we've seen this been delayed a while, a couple of
Because
years
we were thinking
already,
it was gonna start
this year.
this
Yeah.
coming fiscal year.
So,
So the pressure is gonna start this year.
yeah, no. So we contract with the mower.
Oh, sure.
We have trash pickup contracted out,
Great.
and we're still gonna pay for it like we have. All right. Anything else? So our next meeting is May 19th, and we're gonna be downstairs in the basement for that meeting. Because, there's, the city council has this room that night.
Nice.
Well, I saw the sign. Did they think they had it?
They went upstairs. Yep. Yep. They're starting the budget discussions, I think, that night.
That's always fun.
I know. Yeah, so anybody that can be, another thing is on May 4th, on Sunday, this coming Sunday, that's the downtown cleanup day. So that's nothing to do with us, but if you want to help with that, if they're gonna meet out here and we'll, go from there. All right. Do I hear a motion to agenda? To adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.